The crash to stars were quiet, but space was not. A message floated through the darkness, weak, broken, and filled with fear. The voice inside was small, like a child. Help. Please. Help me. It came from planet Xylon 9. No one wanted to go there. The planet was full of monsters, traps, and strange weather. Rescue teams had tried before. None came back. But Captain Raylan heard the message and he didn't look away. "Is this real?" asked the base commander. Raylan nodded. "That's a child. I can't ignore it." "You'll die down there," the commander said. "There are things on that planet we don't understand." "Maybe," Raylan replied. "But I have to try." Within an hour, his ship, Nova Eagle, was heading toward the dark green planet. Storms danced in the clouds. Strange shadows moved across the surface. But Raylan's eyes stayed on the signal. He landed near the crash site. Broken metal, smoke, and burned trees showed where the alien ship had fallen. But there was no sign of anyone, no bodies, no crew, just silence. And the echo of that small voice still whispering, "Help me." Raylan grabbed his gear, oxygen pack, scanner, and his plasma blade. He stepped into the alien jungle. Trees were tall, twisted, and moved slowly like they were alive. The air smelled like rust and something sweet. Too sweet. The scanner beeped, softly. It was tracking the signal. The child's voice was nearby. Raylan moved forward, careful with every step. Then he heard something snap. Without warning, the ground under his foot gave way. Alien vines shot up from the earth, wrapping around his legs like snakes. They pulled hard, trying to drag him into a pit filled with glowing blue spikes. Raylan grunted and reached for his blade. He slashed at the vines, but more came. He was losing. Then he heard it, soft and clear. "Don't move." The voice again. It wasn't from his comms. It was inside his head. Raylan froze. The vines stopped. They loosened. Then they sank back into the ground like nothing had happened. He climbed out, breathing hard. "Thank you," he whispered. "Are you watching me?" No reply. Just silence. But now he knew. The child was alive. And watching. He followed the scanner deeper into the jungle. Strange creatures stared at him from the trees, some with too many eyes, some with none at all. They didn't attack, but they didn't run either. The signal led him to a small clearing. In the middle was a metal piece from the crashed ship. It was glowing. He knelt beside it. "Emergency pod," he said to himself. Someone got out. A trail of small footprints led away into the dark. Not alien, but something smaller. Lighter. A child. "You're close," he said. "Don't be afraid." Again, no answer. But the feeling in his mind grew stronger, like someone was watching, him from nearby, hiding. He stood and followed the trail. The jungle got thicker. Sharp leaves cut his arms. Buzzing insects followed him. Strange lights moved in the air like floating eyes. Suddenly, he heard a growl. It came from the left, then the right, then all around. He turned slowly. 4 creatures stepped into the light. Tall, thin, with long arms and faces like bones. Their eyes glowed red. They moved together, slow and careful, like they were hunting. Raylan didn't reach for his weapon. He remembered the voice. "Don't move." The creatures sniffed the air, then looked at each other. One of them stepped close. Too close. Raylan didn't blink. They stared at him. And then they walked away. He waited until their sounds faded into the jungle. "You saved me again," he said. "Why are you helping me?" He didn't expect an answer, but he got one. In his mind, soft and afraid, came the whisper. "You came when no one else did." Raylan felt a lump in his throat. "I'll find you," he said. "I promise." He kept walking deeper into the jungle, where the trees were darker and the signal was stronger. But something else was there too. A shadow that didn't move like the others. Something bigger than the beasts. Something hunting, and Raylan knew This mission was no rescue. This was war. The first trap the jungle was changing. Captain Raylan noticed it as soon as he crossed a line of twisted black trees. The air grew heavier. The colors around him turned darker. Green leaves now looked almost purple, and the sky above seemed to pulse, like a heartbeat. Even the wind was silent, like the planet itself was holding its breath. His scanner beeped again. Faint signal. Close. He stopped walking. There was a strange shape ahead. A structure. Broken. Old. But clearly not natural. It was made of silver stone. Smooth and cold. Half buried in the ground. Ancient ruins. Raylan whispered. He moved closer. Markings covered the walls. Symbols like circles, stars, and eyes. Alien language unreadable. The scanner went wild. The signal was strongest here. Then he heard it. The child's voice again. You're close. But don't trust what you see. Raylan froze. What do you mean? He whispered. What's here? Silence. Then the ground under his feet shimmered, like heat rising from fire. He stepped back. Nothing. But something was wrong. His instincts screamed. Move. He turned just in time. A wall of energy shot up from the ground, closing off the path behind him. Another wall rose ahead, then to the sides. In seconds, he was trapped inside a perfect cube of light. He reached for his blade, but the air sparked. The moment metal touched it, the blade flew from his hand and hit the wall, stuck like a magnet. Trap, he growled. A voice spoke, not the child. Colder, older, unauthorized lifeform detected, preparing elimination. Small holes, opened in the walls. Metal arms reached out, with needles, saws, and something glowing blue. Raylan didn't panic. He focused. Think, Raylan. Not a fight. A puzzle. He looked around. The ground under his boots wasn't glowing. The center tile was darker. A pressure plate. He stepped off it. The arms paused. Then he jumped back on. And the arms withdrew slightly. A pattern. It was testing him. The wall shifted again. A riddle began to form on the wall, glowing in alien letters, and somehow, he could read it. Only those who protect, not destroy, may pass. He understood. No violence. No weapon. Only peace. Raylan raised his hands. I'm here to help. I'm not your enemy. The cube flickered. The arms retracted. Then, a small door opened in the floor, a way out. He dropped through, landing in a soft pile of moss below. He was inside a new chamber, and this one was filled with light and with sound, laughter, a child's laughter. Soft and echoing, he turned fast. No one was there, just a small toy on the floor. Round, glowing, still spinning, he picked it up. You left this behind, he said quietly. He could feel her now. Stronger. Closer. Why are you here, little one? How did you survive all this? He heard footsteps. Not hers. Heavy. Slow. Wrong. He hid behind a broken pillar. Something entered the chamber, a tall shape wrapped in bone armor. No face, just a black mirror where a face should be. It stopped, sniffed the air, turned toward the toy, then it crushed it underfoot. Raylan didn't move. The figure stood still for a moment, then left through a passage. Raylan waited. Who was that? He asked the silence. This time the child answered, inside his head, her voice shaking. The hunter. He's looking for me. He finds everyone. Why you? Raylan asked. Because I remember things they want to erase. His heart pounded. This was bigger than a crash, bigger than a lost child. Something dark was happening. I'll keep you safe, he said. You don't even know me, she replied. I don't have to. I just know you're alone. And scared. And I won't let them take you. Silence again. But this time, it felt warmer. He moved deeper into the ruins. The walls were covered in drawings of planets, stars, and a child with glowing eyes. The same child he was trying to save. Was she important? Powerful? Was she even fully alien? He didn't know yet. But he did know one thing. He wasn't just rescuing a lost child anymore. He was stepping into a war. One older and more dangerous than he had imagined. And the planet had only just begun testing him. The beasts of the dark. The air grew colder as Raylan stepped out of the ruins. The trees outside were no longer green or black. They were silver. Not shining silver, but pale and dead-looking, like metal that had rusted for 1,000 years. There were no sounds now. No wind, no birds, not even the hum of insects. Just silence. Too much silence. His scanner was useless. The signal from the child had vanished again, as if the planet itself was hiding her. He looked up. The sky was darker than before. 2 moons now hung low, almost touching the trees. He whispered, "This planet changes every time I get closer." But it was more than that. It was watching him. He moved carefully through the forest, every step slow and measured. He remembered what the girl had said. Don't trust what you see. After 15 minutes of walking, he realized something strange. He was walking in a circle. The silver trees had no leaves, but one of them had a broken branch low to the ground. He passed that tree again, and again, and again. Illusion, he said. But who made it? The planet or the hunter? He closed his eyes and listened. Deep beneath the silence, he heard breathing, but it wasn't his. It was all around him. Slow, wet, heavy breathing. He opened his eyes fast. Shadows moved between the trees, tall, silent, and fast. He reached for his weapon, then stopped. No violence, he whispered to himself. Not unless I have to. He turned on his suit's thermal vision and froze. There were dozens of shapes around him. Thin, long bodies, with arms that reached the ground, legs that bent the wrong way, and heads too large for their necks. The scanner called them unknown life forms. He stepped back slowly, but the ground was soft, too soft. With a hiss, it gave way under his foot, revealing a pit full of bones. He stumbled. The creatures noticed. They began to move. Raylan ran. Trees blurred past him as he sprinted, jumping, over roots and sliding under low branches. The beasts chased him, not with loud roars or screams, but silently like ghosts. He could barely hear them, but he could feel them. The air behind him changed. Pressure dropped. Cold chased him. Something long and sharp flew past his face and buried itself into a tree. He didn't look back. Then, just ahead, a clearing. He burst out of the forest and into the open. The beasts stopped at the edge. They didn't enter the light. Raylan turned to face them. They stood there, hunched and still, waiting. And then they stepped back, all at once, disappearing into the silver woods like smoke. He looked around. The clearing had strange stones arranged in a circle. In the middle stood a tall crystal, glowing faint blue. He walked toward it. Suddenly, a voice. Hers. You made it. He looked around. Where are you? No reply. Then, a glowing shape appeared behind the crystal, not her body. A memory. Like a hologram. A small girl with dark skin and glowing lines on her arms. She looked human. Almost. She sat on the ground, hugging a strange toy. Alone. Afraid. What is this? He whispered. A memory. Mine. Her voice was calm, but heavy. This is where they left me. Where they tested me. Where they taught me to fear. Who are they? The ones who wear faces they did not grow. The ones who burn stars to stay alive. The ones who fear humans, because humans are the only ones who fight back. Raylan's heart pounded. You're not just a child. No, but I still feel like one. The memory faded and suddenly, a roar, not like before. Deeper, older, angry. From the trees came something bigger than the beasts. a creature like a spider, but the size of a tank. It had 6 glowing eyes and legs that cracked the ground. As it walked, Raylan raised his blade. The child's voice whispered, "Don't kill it. Free it." He stared in disbelief. "How?" "It's like me." It was taken, changed, trapped in pain. The creature screamed again and charged. Raylan dodged left, barely escaping the strike. He saw strange metal devices on its head, controlling it. Wires. Implants. Got it. He ran forward, fast and low. He climbed the creature's side, grabbing the cables and yanking them free. It threw him off, but didn't attack again. It stood still. Then slowly, it walked away. Into the dark. Free. Raylan lay on the ground, breathing hard. The child's voice came again. Soft, almost proud. "You listened. Others never do. They're going to find you," he said. "The hunter, the ones who fear your memory. No. Then we have to move. Now. There's one more thing you must see. The city. It's waiting." The forest behind him began to change again, trees curling away, forming a path. Raylan stood up. A lost child was leading him. But to what? He followed the path into the unknown, and behind him, deep in the trees, red eyes opened once again. The beasts had not given up. They were only waiting for the dark to return. The alien city captain Raylan followed the winding path through the silver forest, guided only by the child's voice in his mind. Each step forward felt heavier than the last. The trees no longer rustled, and the shadows around him didn't behave like normal shadows. They moved, even when there was no light. "We're close now," the girl's voice whispered. "Close to what?" "My past." The forest opened like a mouth, revealing a hidden cliffside. Beyond it, down in the valley, lay something impossible. An ancient alien city, buried beneath layers of time, overgrown with glowing moss and crystal vines. The buildings were tall, curved like bones, and connected by thin bridges that floated in the air. Giant statues lined the city gates, though they were not alien. They were human, or at least, they looked human. "What is this place?" Raylan asked. The child's voice paused. "Home. Not mine. Yours." He descended into the city, his boots crunching over cracked stone roads that still whispered old memories. He passed the first statue. The figure was armored, holding a blade made of light. Its face was calm, its eyes empty. Underneath, written in alien script, "The one who said no." "Is that a soldier?" Raylan muttered. He passed the second statue. This one held a child, not a weapon. Underneath, "The one who stayed behind." A chill ran down his spine. Humans were here before. The girl spoke again. "Long before you were born. Before your kind knew what stars were." Raylan stopped walking. "You're saying humans came here and were forgotten?" "No, they were erased." He entered the center of the city, a broken courtyard with a fountain in the shape of a star. In its center was a chair, not for sitting, for locking someone in. He stared at it. The child's voice was softer now. "This is where they put me, when I wouldn't forget." "Forget what?" "Who I was, who my mother was, what humans did. What did we do?" The silence stretched. Then came images, flashing into his mind. War. Long ago, humans, standing against an empire of machines and mind-stealers, refusing to kneel, sacrificing their worlds so others could live free. Humans didn't conquer. They resisted. They fought back when no one else would. And the enemy remembered. So, they tried to erase them. "They didn't wipe us out," Raylan whispered. "They buried the truth." "And they buried me," she replied. He clenched his fists. Not anymore. Suddenly, a sound, not in his mind, not hers. Real. Metal grinding. Heavy steps. Something huge. Raylan turned toward a shattered tower. Tall figure stepped from the shadows. The hunter. Its armor was black bone glowing with red veins. Its hands were blades. Its face had no face, just a shifting mirror. But this time, it spoke. "You do not belong here, human," its voice echoed like steel hitting stone. "And you don't get to decide who does," Raylan replied, stepping forward. The hunter's head tilted. "Your kind walked away from this world." "Maybe. But I walked back in." The hunter pointed at the broken chair. "She carries memories that can restart a war. Is that what you want?" Raylan didn't flinch. "She's a child. She's a weapon. No, she's a survivor like all humans." The hunter stepped closer. "Leave now and live. Stay and die." Raylan smiled coldly. "You're not the first thing that's tried to scare me." He drew his blade. The hunter roared. Deep electric sound that shook the air. From the towers above, more shadows moved. Not beasts, not machines. Others like the hunter. Raylan turned to the sky. No exit, no backup, and no way out. "You still with me?" he asked. The child's voice returned calm always. She showed him a path, a hidden door beneath the fountain. "Run," she said. "Not without you. You'll find me, but not here." The hunter raised a hand, and the ground split. Energy cracked the courtyard, and Raylan jumped, rolling, under falling stone. He dove into the fountain chamber just as the door slammed shut behind him. Darkness, then lights flickered on, showing walls filled with writing, drawings, faces, all human, painted by a child. "You remembered everything," he whispered. And in that room, he saw it all. How she was taken from a colony world. How she was tested, changed, but never broke. How she waited for someone to return. Not to save her, to believe her. Above him, the hunter screamed. The city was waking up, and deep underground, the memory of humanity's fire was starting to burn again. Raylan knew now. This wasn't just about saving a lost child. This was about bringing truth back to a galaxy built on lies, and the only one who could do it was human. The connection, the chamber was cold but alive. As Raylan moved deeper into the underground vault beneath the alien city, the walls began to glow. Not with light, with memory. They pulsed with images drawn by a child's hand, stars, ships, and bases, all human. There was no doubt now. This wasn't just an alien ruin. It was a graveyard of forgotten truths. And the girl was the last one who remembered. The path led him to a wide, circular room with glass walls and a single chair at the center. Not a prison this time, but a seat surrounded by hundreds of floating data orbs. And in that chair sat her. Small, quiet, alone. She looked up slowly. Raylan froze. She looked human. Almost completely. Dark brown eyes, soft face, small, tired frame. But thin, glowing lines ran along her skin like circuits, pulsing softly with each heartbeat. "You found me," she said. Not through his mind. She spoke aloud. "You're real," Raylan replied, stepping forward. She tilted her head. "I wasn't sure. I thought maybe you were just another test." "I'm real," he said, "and I'm here for you." She didn't smile. Others said that too. Scientists, soldiers, even the machines, but none of them stayed. Raylan knelt down in front of her. "I'm not like them." She looked into his eyes, and for the first time she believed him. The room shifted. The glass walls turned transparent, showing a holographic memory of the past. Raylan saw her, years ago, younger, running in a field with other children. Human children, a colony world. Peaceful. Bright. Then came the ships, dark and silent. No war. No noise. Just abduction. "They didn't want to destroy us," she said. "They wanted to erase what we knew." The memory changed. She was in a lab, being studied, touched, connected to machines. Others cried. Some disappeared. Only she remained. They couldn't break me, she whispered. Why not? Raylan asked. She placed her small hand on her chest. Because my mother told me stories about Earth, about bravery, about humans who never gave up. Pause. I believed them. Then the connection grew stronger. Raylan felt it, not just in his mind, in his blood. A warmth passed between them, a flow of memories not just from her, but from him too, she gasped. You fought on the planet Kryos. You saved your team. You gave up everything. His eyes widened. How do you know that? Your memories. They're here. She pointed to her head. You've been open, since the start. You've been reading me? Not reading. Feeling. Humans feel stronger than any other race. That's why they fear you. Raylan shook his head. No, they fear you. She nodded. Because I am both, alien and human. And I remember what they tried to bury. And now, they want to destroy me. Before the galaxy remembers, too. An alarm blared. The city above began to shake. The hunter had found the chamber. Raylan stood, pulling the child behind him. We need to move. You can't fight them alone, she said. I'm not alone. He turned, pulled a beacon from his belt, and smashed it to the floor. A red pulse burst out, an old signal from a forgotten war, and far above, buried under centuries of vines, something woke up. An old human war drone, still alive, still waiting for its pilot. Raylan took her hand and ran through the collapsing tunnels. The glass cracked behind them. Metal beams fell from the ceiling. The hunter's voice echoed from the walls. You're not rescuing a child, human. You're reviving a war. Raylan didn't stop. Good. Maybe it's time they remembered who we are. The tunnel led to a sealed door. The child raised her hand. The walls responded to her touch, recognizing her code, her DNA. The door opened. Outside, the city burned. But in the sky came the roar of engines. Old engines, human engines. The war drone, black and silver, descended, like a god of vengeance. Its AI spoke through speakers, voice broken from age. Commander Raylan. Pilot confirmed, weapons armed. He turned to the child. Are you ready? She nodded. They took everything from me, she said. But not anymore. They entered the drone and together, they rose. Above the alien city, the hunter waited, blade arm drawn, eyes burning red. Behind him, thousands of his kind stood in silence. But the sky cracked open, and from the storm clouds came fire. Not alien fire. Human fire. The chase the war drone tore through the clouds like a fallen star, its engines howling across the sky. Inside the cockpit, Captain Raylan held the controls with both hands. Sweat ran down his face, but his grip was steady. Beside him, the child sat silently, her eyes glowing softly, her body connected to the ship's systems through thin strands of living light. They're following, she said. Raylan looked to the rear screen. The hunter wasn't alone. Behind him flew 6 armored vessels, black, smooth like flying knives. They made no sound, but each carried death. Drones, fighters, and something worse. They'll never stop, she whispered. Then we won't either, Raylan replied, pulling the throttle. The drone's boosters flared, and the earth below blurred into speed. The world beneath them turned into a nightmare. The forest, once silver and quiet, began to twist violently. Trees grew taller in seconds. Roots burst from the ground like spears trying to catch the ship. The planet. It's waking up, Raylan said. It's reacting to fear, the child replied. Mine. He looked at her. You can control. Not control, she said softly. It listens to me, because it remembers. She pointed down, toward a massive crater filled with broken machines. They buried them there, The others like me. Raylan's stomach turned. How many? Hundreds. And you're the only one left? She nodded. A warning flashed red across the screen. Incoming strike. Raylan jerked the drone left just as a beam of dark energy fired past them. It sliced the top off a mountain. The hunter's voice came through the speakers, smooth and cold. You can run, human, but you will return her. The vessel belongs to us. Raylan scowled. She's not a vessel, she's a person. She's a memory you should not have found. Another beam came. This time it grazed the ship. Alarms blared. Fire sparked across the left engine. Raylan's hands flew across controls. Stabilizers offline, we can't outrun them much longer. The child closed her eyes. Then we stopped running. She placed her hand on the control panel. The lights dimmed. The ship began to move differently. Faster, smoother, like it wasn't flying anymore but gliding through space itself. What did you do? Raylan asked. I showed it what I remember. Now it remembers too. Behind them, the pursuing ships began to slow. Confused, they lost the signal. The drone vanished. They reappeared on the far side of the planet, in an orbit above a dead moon covered in ruins. Raylan stared at the landscape. Is this? Yes, she said. Earth's first colony, long forgotten. They destroyed it when humans refused to join their peaceful order. They landed on a platform covered in ash and metal bones. Raylan stepped out first. Wind blew softly. He could still smell the war. She followed barefoot, the wind playing with her hair. This is where I was born, she said. My mother was a researcher. My father, a soldier. Like you. She walked toward a ruined wall. Carved into it were words in Old English. We don't kneel, we rise. Raylan touched the stone. So that's why they want you gone, he said. You're not just a child. You're a message. No, she whispered. I'm a spark. He turned to her. A spark for what? She met his eyes. For a new fire. A sound cut the silence. Not from the air. From inside Raylan's armor. A voice. His voice. But from the past. Project Ember. Failed. Repeat. The child was lost. No extraction. He froze. Where did that come from? Your armor, she said. They gave it to you 10 years ago, didn't they? He nodded slowly. You've always been connected, she continued. They didn't just send you to save me. They sent you because you were part of the experiment. Raylan stepped back. No, I would have known. They erased your memories, but not your instincts. That's why you felt me before you heard me. He tried to breathe. So you're not like them. Not fully. You're not like me either. You're the bridge. She touched his chest. You were born to find me. Above them. The sky cracked open. The hunter had followed. His ship descended with fire and lightning. Soldiers poured out. Not made. Of flesh but bone and glass, they surrounded the ruins. The hunter stepped forward. Last warning, he said. Didn't give her up. Raylan didn't move. The child stood beside him, calm. You don't get to decide who lives, Raylan said. The hunter raised his blade. I was made to erase the past. Then I was made to remind you of it. Behind Raylan, the ruins began to glow. The ash lifted, and the bones of the first colonists rose, not as corpses, but as memory. Voices, light, Earth's first defenders, had returned. Raylan grabbed his blade. You want a war? He said. Then remember how it starts. He charged. The final stand, the wind screamed across the dead colony. Ash swirled around Captain Raylan like smoke from an old fire trying to come back to life. The broken city beneath his boots trembled, not from fear, but from memory. The echoes of the past had awakened, and they were angry. Behind him, the girl stood still, her eyes closed. Her body glowed brighter now, lines of ancient code shining under her skin. But it wasn't pain. It was purpose. They're afraid of you, Raylan said. She opened her eyes. They should be. The hunter advanced through the ruins, blade arm humming with dark energy. Around him, machines in bone armor moved like shadows, fast, silent, lethal. Raylan stood alone in their path. A human. Nothing more. Stand down, the hunter warned. You've been used. She is not a child. She is a signal. One that calls back war. Raylan took a slow breath. Maybe war needs to remember who started it. He drew his plasma blade. They charged. A wave of soldiers rushed forward, weapons ready to tear through flesh and steel. Raylan didn't run. He met them head-on. One blade. One man. But not just a man. The memories inside him had returned. Flashes of training he never remembered learning. Reflexes built from experiments he never agreed to. Pain turned into instinct. Every strike from him was perfect. Clean. Fast. 3 fell. Then 6. Then 10. But they kept coming. Behind him, the child stepped forward, barefoot on ash. The wind around her stopped. The light from her body pulsed once, and every machine froze, not by force, by memory. Their systems, made from stolen tech, corrupted AI, hybrid code, recognized her signature. They remembered who she was, who her parents were, what her blood carried. Truth, the child spoke, not to the machines, but to the sky, to the network that watched all things. I am not your mistake. I am your mirror. Some machines dropped their weapons, others bowed, and the hunter roared. He lunged at her, blade first, faster than sound. Raylan intercepted midair, their weapons clashing in a burst of sparks. The force threw them both into the ruins. Raylan landed hard, coughing blood. His blade shattered. The hunter walked slowly, dragging a broken wing behind him. You can't protect her, he said. You are human, weak, emotional, doomed to repeat your failures. Raylan stood, bleeding, broken. You're right, he said. Humans feel. We care. That's what makes us dangerous. He looked to the girl. It's what makes her unstoppable. The child stepped between them, and for the first time, she didn't look afraid. Her voice echoed through the ruins, ancient and new. You tried to erase us, but we became the story. She raised both hands. Light poured from her body not as a weapon, but as a wave of memory, truth. Across the galaxy, satellites picked up the signal. Old archives opened. Data that had been buried under fear and power came back online. Images of humanity's sacrifices, their resistance, their refusal to kneel. Other worlds saw it. They remembered, and they stood up. The hunter screamed and charged again. But this time the machines behind him didn't follow. They turned and watched. Raylan grabbed a broken piece of steel and met the hunter one final time. No blade. Just rage. The two crashed into each other, a storm of fists, fire, and fury. Raylan fought, like a soldier, but more than that, he fought like a father. He took the final strike, drove the steel through the hunter's core. The machine screamed, its face cracking. This is for every child you buried, Raylan whispered. The hunter collapsed, dead. The city was quiet again. The machines powered down. The storm faded. The planet breathed. Raylan fell to his knees. She ran to him. You did it, she whispered. No, he smiled. We did. She hugged him tightly, her glow dimming. Not in fear, but peace. Where do we go now? She asked. Raylan looked, up at the sky, now clearing. Home. We go home. Do we have one? He nodded slowly. We'll build one. Together. Months later, a transmission spread across neutral space from a new colony, rebuilt on the edge of old war. The message said, My name is Raylan. I'm human. This child is not a weapon, she's a voice, and her story is ours. If you remember the truth, you're not alone. The galaxy had tried to silence them, but now the stars were listening, and the fire was spreading.